As a result of the allegations of sexual abuse and misbehavior that have been made against DASAR Television Network, there have been significant questions raised regarding the accountability and ethical processes that are utilized by Christian groups. Not only for the individuals who are directly involved in the case, but also for the larger Christian community that looks to these institutions for spiritual guidance, there is a growing desire for openness and justice as the issue continues to get more and more publicity. An investigation into the matter is presented here in great detail. The historical context, as well as the far-reaching ramifications of it. Overview of the history of the DASAR Television Network. The DASAR Television Network, which was established in 1997 by Marcus and Joni Lamb, swiftly became one of the most prominent Christian television networks in the world because of its rapid rise to notoriety. DASAR became extremely popular among millions of viewers all over the world as a result of its broadcasting of evangelical programs, sermons, worship services, and chat shows based on religious beliefs. The Lambs, They built their name on promoting Christian values, with an emphasis on faith, family, and integrity. They were the founders of the network and provided the principal faces of the organization. The most recent claims, on the other hand, posed a risk of tarnishing this legacy and calling into question the ideas that they have consistently advocated for. In late 2024, Jonathan Lamb, the son of Marcus and Joni Lamb, along with his wife Susie Lamb, came forth with claims that rocked the basis of DASAR. These allegations were detailed in depth, and these were the initial accusations. Specifically, the allegations revolved around two significant occurrences. Abuse of their daughter in a sexual manner. Jonathan and Susie claimed that their daughter was subjected to sexual abuse at the hands of a guy who they have identified as Pete. Reportedly, Pete was a close acquaintance of the leadership of the DASAR organization. The Lambs claimed that when they reported this occurrence to Marcus and Joni Lamb, their concerns were disregarded, and efforts were made to silencing the matter, rather than addressing it in an open and honest manner. Assault on Susie Lamb's sexual senses. Additionally, Susie asserted that she was subjected to sexual abuse at the hands of an unlicensed chiropractor who had been employed by Marcus and Joni Lamb. Susie asserts that this chiropractor was hired to provide services to DASAR staff members. However, that individual did not possess the necessary qualifications and did not adhere to accountability standards. Taking retaliation against Jonathan Lamb claimed that he was fired from his executive position at DASAR because he refused to sign a non-disclosure agreement because of his refusal to disclose information. This would have been resolved if the NDA had been in place. Jonathan claims that his resignation was directly related to his reluctance to comply with the non-disclosure agreement (NDA), despite the fact that the firing was purportedly portrayed as a result of poor performance. DASAR's response. Joni Lamb released a stringent rebuttal to the accusations, unequivocally denying any wrongdoing and describing Jonathan and Susie's assertions as part of a smear campaign. These statements were made in response to the allegations. It was a poor performance review that led to Jonathan's resignation from DASAR, according to Joni. There was no relationship between Jonathan's departure and the allegations or his reluctance to sign a non-disclosure agreement either. In spite of these denials, opponents contend that the response provided by DASAR does not meet the standards of transparency and accountability that are usually associated with faith-based organizations. In order to find the truth and ensure that justice is served to all parties involved, many people have urged for an impartial investigation to be conducted. Christian broadcasting and DASAR are also affected by these broader implications. A single breach of trust in the leadership because of the claims. DASAR is currently facing a severe problem in terms of its credibility. The reputation of Marcus and Joni Lamb as spiritual leaders is currently being subjected to a great deal of scrutiny, with many individuals wondering whether or not their leadership tactics are in line with the Christian ideals that they advocate for. 2. Influence on the number of viewers and sustaining donors. When it comes to funding its activities, DASAR relies significantly on donations from viewers. In the event that allegations of sexual abuse and cover-ups are made, it is possible that donations may decrease because supporters will question the integrity of the leadership of the network. The importance of making changes to the structure, the mishandling of abuse complaints, the absence of protections, and the employment of a chiropractor who is not licensed are all examples of systemic faults that have been brought to light by this circumstance. These difficulties show that there is insufficient monitoring and responsibility within DASAR. 4. The balance of power. It's possible that the hierarchical structure of DASAR has had a role in creating a culture in which people who blow the whistle fear retaliation. 5. Considerations to be made regarding theology and ethics. 6. The principles of the Bible places a strong emphasis on fairness, openness, and concern for those who are vulnerable. Some passages include Micah 6-8, which instructs people to walk humbly with their God, love mercy, and do justice. They would be better off being cast into the sea with a millstone fastened around their necks than it would be to cause one of these little children to fall. This is according to Luke 17:2. Christian leaders are tasked with the burden of serving as sharp reminders of this commitment. In the context of Christian institutions, accountability in order to fulfill their moral and ethical obligations, Christian organizations are obligated to treat claims with integrity. It is not only detrimental to the victims, but it also undermines the legitimacy of the entire religious community if this is not done. Reactions from the public and the community advocates of the DASAR Act. There are other DASAR supporters who continue to maintain their unwavering support for Marcus and Joni Lamb. In light of the claims, which they perceive as an assault on their ministry, these supporters point to the Lambs' decades of service and their substantial humanitarian activity as evidence of their character. The claims, on the other hand, are seen as a wake-up call for greater accountability within the realm of Christian broadcasting by critics and advocates for reform. Others, advocacy groups and individuals who have survived abuse have placed a plea for an independent investigation, as well as structural reforms in order to guarantee openness and justice. Why social media is so important. Social media platforms have played a significant role in amplifying the dispute, with hashtags such as #DASARScandal and #JusticeForSurvivors becoming popular among both supporters and detractors of the organization. Through the use of internet discourse, bigger issues of abuse and cover-ups inside religious institutions have also been brought to the forefront of concern. The possible outcomes and the following steps. 1. A free and independent investigation in order to regain the confidence of the general public. Many people are advocating for an impartial investigation into the charges. An investigation of this nature could ascertain whether or not Jonathan and Susie Lamb's assertions are true, determine the underlying problems that exist within the leadership and operations of DASAR, give suggestions for changes that could be made to prevent similar events in the future. 2. Legal proceedings. Legal action may be taken against DASAR or the individuals who are believed to have been involved in the cover-up, depending on the findings of any investigation that may be conducted. 3. Reforms concerning institutions. This controversy, regardless of the conclusion, highlights the necessity for structural changes within DASAR, including an increase in the number of more robust safety measures, putting in place more stringent selection procedures and accountability mechanisms for both employees and independent contractors, protections for those who blow the whistle, the formulation of guidelines to safeguard employees, and associates who report instances of misconduct. Leadership that is open and honest, putting in place measures that will allow for independent oversight of DASAR's leadership and operations. Final thoughts: the claims of sexual abuse and misbehavior that have been made against DASAR Television Network constitute a defining moment for the organization, as well as for Christian broadcasting in general. This predicament provides as a potent reminder of the significance of accountability, and it continues to develop as time goes on. Openness and justice within institutions that are based on religious principle. This dispute is extremely depressing for the millions of people who have looked to DASAR for support and assistance on their spiritual path. Nevertheless, it also provides the network with an opportunity to acknowledge its shortcomings, provide assistance to survivors, and recommit itself to the ideals that it has asserted for a long time that it upholds. This tale is still unfolding, and the resolution to it will have significant repercussions for DASAR, its leadership, and the organization as a whole, including the larger Christian community as a whole. In the faith that truth and justice will triumph, let us hope. Fostering a culture of integrity within religious institutions while also bringing healing to individuals who have been harmed by the situation.